Welcome to Subaru Ecu Flash Training Part 15. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at working with our speed density tuning, but we're going to be taking a look at working with open loop style tuning. In the last video, we explored closed loop, working with our fuel trims, and open loop. This is going to be when we get into boost, into full throttle style tuning. So we're going to learn how to work with our volumetric efficiency table, how to calibrate it, how to go in data log and ROM rate or proper channels, and then how to open up that data and analyze it in Megalog Viewer HD software. We have a lot to cover. Let's jump in so we can check this out.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our speed density tuning now in an open loop type format. So this is going to be where we get into boost, we do wide open throttle pulls. This is going to be the exciting part of tuning. Now, the closed loop tuning that we covered in the last training tutorial within speed density operation is a bit more time consuming. It does take more data capture and data analysis in order to successfully tune the volumetric efficiency table, essentially from full vacuum up to about 14.5 psi. Let's quickly go and open up our VE table here quick, just so we can reference that as we're discussing things in this training tutorial. If we go down here a little bit further, we're going to find here, we find our VE table. So the last video, we really focused our efforts here from full vacuum up to about 14.51. Now, that's going to be for normal driving situations. When we get into higher boost levels, we exit closed loop and we enter open loop. Now we go here and we're going to be essentially mapping out and calibrating this higher portion of the table. Now, we discussed a lot of key things to look for when we're doing our closed loop tuning and getting the engine up and running at idle and part throttle. We know that we have to first adjust our injector latency data if it's off, based on what we're seeing registered for volumetric efficiency values. So at idle, we are looking for about 40 to 50% volumetric efficiency value when we get the engine up and running and idling after we've exited any kind of post-start or any kind of warm-up enrichment. Now, I do want to mention that last training video that I didn't throw in there for the closed loop tuning. We want to make sure that we're not in a warm-up period, and the same is going to go for this video. So meaning the engine coolant temperature is at least 160, 170 degrees and warmer. We don't want to do any tuning until we've gone and brought the engine up into proper operating temperature. That avoids any kind of post-start fuel or any kind of warm-up enrichment fuel that can be applied against the injector pulse width coming from airflow estimation from our VE table. It's very important. That can skew up the results of how we're calibrating and working within this table. So when we're doing our tuning, whether it's closed loop or open loop as we're finding in speed density, we want to make sure that we're up to operating temperature and we've let the engine fire off for at least 10, 15 seconds, maybe even 20 seconds before we do data capture, before we take a look at analyzing the actual data and reviewing it is exactly what is going on. So what we're finding here is that we're primarily focused on calibrating this area of the table. Now, this is going to be relatively simple. We're going to be using the air-fuel air channel that we've created in Megalog Viewer when we were taking a look at doing the mass airflow style tuning in the open loop specific video. So this is going to be the same kind of concept, but now we have this three-dimensional area here to cover instead of a two-dimensional table dealing with the actual mass airflow calibration process. So it's a little bit more involved. We have a lot more data points to hit, but we're able to edit these data points here and successfully achieve what we'd like to have for fuel delivery. So again, as we found in the last video, the volumetric efficiency table is the estimation of airflow as it's entering the engine. We know that we have other parameters here that we have to keep track of, such as engine displacement. This is going to be telling the ECU what the volume flow of the actual volume it's going to be filling coming into the engine. This is going to be then telling the ECU what the volume flow of air entering that displacement or the actual volume is going to be. That's very important that we characterize this engine displacement properly. If you have an EJ25 bottom end, you'll have to go and set this into the 2.5 liter displacement or the 2500 cc displacement. So it's going to be accurately tracking what these VE values represent. So in this case, we have an EJ20 bottom end. It's a stock bottom end. We don't have to worry about that. And what we're going to be doing here is kind of picking up where we left off in the last video in terms of now transitioning from closed to open loop. We know at this point the engine can idle and drive relatively well. I've went in and tweaked my VE table to absorb those small trim differences, 5-10% differences, so we're getting everything back in line, and now we're ready to take a look at populating these higher boost, higher load areas when we're exiting closed loop into open loop and trying to achieve the target air fuel that we're after. Now, let me quickly just run through some things here. What we're finding here is that we've represented the injector flow, the latency to what is going to scale it out for idle part throttle. So at this point, we know that anything we're changing here as far as airfield differences between the target airfuel and the actual airfuel will have to be absorbed into our actual VE table. Just as we found in the mass airflow calibration video doing open loop tuning, we scaled out any kind of differences in terms of the air fuel delivery into the actual mass airflow calibration curve. That's gonna be the same kind of concept here, but we have these data points, more data points to hit. What I wanna cover here and talk about is taking a look at our primary open loop table. This primary open loop table is where the target air fuel is going to come from when we're getting.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.